welcome. You're watching NewsX and I'm Megha Sharma. Now, while hearing a batch of petitions challenging the Waqf Amendment Act, the Supreme Court has emphasized that the Article 26 of the Constitution is secular and applies to all communities and therefore does not bar the enactment of the Waqf Act. Highlighting that protected monuments cannot be Waqf asset, the court has pointed that the Act shields old mosques such as Jama Masjid. That's not all. The Waqf by user clause has come under scrutiny as well. While expressing there is genuine concern over this, the court emphasized that the Waqf by user notification has huge implications and will issue a notice to central government on this. But last and not the least, the Supreme Court has emphasized that it is concerned with the violence witnessed in Murshidabad over the passing of the Waqf Amendment Act. Let's start this conversation, and joining me on the telecast is Sujata Paul. She is the Congress spokesperson. I'm going to start with you, Sujata. What do you make of the observations that have been made by the Chief Justice of India today? While hearing the petitions in court, there have been arguments that have been put up by senior advocates, and I'm going to go through them point by point. But the question with regards to the big announcement or the big observation being made about Waqf by user, that a piece of land that is deemed to be Waqf simply because that property has been used for charity or religious purposes for a really long time. How does this denotification end up leading to huge consequences, and what is going to be the impact of it in the Supreme Court when it decides to pass its judgment in the case?
Good evening, Megha, to my co-panelists and all your audiences. It's very important to understand that the reason for us welcoming the observations made by the Honorable Supreme Court are supreme, and because the Honorable Court has said that any property which has been declared as a Waqf by user cannot be denotified, and especially in the matter of those properties which have been declared by the court as Waqf properties, and they will have to be treated as Waqf properties and not as non-Waqf properties. It has been made very clear by the Honorable Court. Also, what the Honorable Court has said when it was said that all the matters pending in the High Courts where the 1995 Waqf has been challenged need not be called to the Supreme Court. There is a reason, and the court's observations have also included the fact that cases from, because this has existed from the 1940s, cases from the Privy Council times have also been studied by the court, and the confusion which will be created as a result of this denotification is a matter of concern. And therefore, what the court has said in the past cannot be overturned by the legislature without any basis. And that is where we feel vindicated also, and also that this is moving in the positive direction. Important points made by the court also include that there have been cases of misuse and blatant misuse. This has also been mentioned by the court. And this is what we are saying, that if there is anything wrong happening, if there is any activity which is unlawful, that should be looked at in that particular manner.
Okay.
There are laws which exist. It's not as if laws do not exist. This brouhaha which has been made by the BJP about the tribunal looking into the matters, and the matter cannot be taken to court. There have to be people from other communities which have to be inducted into the Waqf board. These are matters of great concern because you're hitting at the root of the Constitution, the basis of the Constitution. And therefore, we will wait to see what happens tomorrow, as the hearing is tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. All right. Fair enough. You made your point, Sujata. I'm going to get Mukesh Tagia as well. And Mukesh, how do you view the proceedings that have taken place today in court? Senior advocates Kapil Sibal, Abhishek Manu Singhvi, they all came up and put forth their arguments, particularly with regards to Article 26 and how this act is an alleged violation of the religious freedom under Article 26, talking about why there is a need for inclusion of a state-appointed government official to monitor and manage the trust, talking about why is there a need for non-Muslims to be part of trust.
Is that question for me?
Yeah, that's for Mukesh. Mukesh, do you think all these arguments are valid?
No, you see, first of all, let me tell you, plethora of petitions have been filed. Everybody has been clamoring from the rooftop that this matter should be stayed because state violation of the constitutional fundamental right of Article 25 and 26. Now, court has refused to grant them that blanket stay. I'm not sure whether it has been admitted formally or it's still the admission proceedings are going on. There have been some observation by the Supreme Court, and we absolutely welcome that maybe you cannot de-notify the property, which is now the major challenge right now there are 3-4 planks which have been challenged in this entire Amendment Act. The number one is that how can the district magistrate decide about the credentials of the property? That is number one. Number two, Waqf by use. That Waqf by use should be discontinued and let it be based on the documentary evidence of registration, because that is the conclusive evidence of the title to the property. Thirdly, that why are you interfering in the Muslim business? Number one, it is not a religious institution. It is a statutory institution. And if going by their analogy, then why Supreme Court has allowed Hindu Succession Act, Hindu Marriage Act, Sati Pratha Abolition Act, Child Marriage Act? There are a number of interferences done by the government, by the legislature, including the Congress government, which has done it, into the sacrosanct area of Hindus. So this analogy completely gets out of the window, because intervention is the fundamental right of the government if it is being misused. Coming to the misuse, Waqf misuse, Medha, I can give you umpteen number of examples where this concept of Waqf by, that's the reason today it has reached to this level. Number one, no Waqf has done any charitable philanthropic activities. Show me one example. They have made one big hospital, one big university, any work which is of a high scale. Look at the earnings and look at the property they're holding. Such a commission report has been stricter against the misuse by the Waqf and the Mutablis. So the minorities within the Muslims have been monopolizing the benefits of this Waqf. So that is one challenge. Now again, a bishop, I think Congress should be a little apprehensive of the fact that the bishop is saying that most of the Christians have been extricated from their property because it is considered to be the Waqf property. Now the criteria for Waqf by misuse is, number one, there should be historical evidence. Number two, it should be used uninterrupted. So they are claiming property which is not actually uninterrupted use by them. They are claiming property on Taj Mahal, Parliament, entire village in Tamil Nadu, Tiruchirappalli. They are misusing, they have given away, leased out the properties at a paltry rent, which in comparison to the property is disproportionate. So there has been a gross misuse. The problem is the Congress has suffered the appeasement. They are still not shedding off that appeasement card, despite the fact they are getting completely decimated. So what I'm suggestion is, let us wait. Tomorrow 2 o'clock again the hearing will be resumed.
Okay, all right. So fair enough. Fair enough. Sujata, I'll come back to you. But Ashwini, what are the legal implications of the observation that has been made by the Supreme Court today, particularly with regards to the denotification of Waqf by user? What are the concerns? What are the apprehensions?
Three broader points were discussed by Honorable Supreme Court Megha. One was that the properties were declared by court to be Waqf will not be denotified or be treated as non-Waqf. As you said, that the Waqf by user, which is referring to the property that is treated a Waqf based on its long-term use for religious or charitable purposes, without any formal documentation. So the second was that the collector can continue with the proceedings on disputed work, but the provision will not be given effect to. That was also the another suggestion. And third was the members of Waqf Council and Waqf boards have to be Muslims except ex officio members, citing Article 26 of the Constitution of India. Because Article 26 of the Constitution guarantees the freedom to manage religious affairs to each and every person who is the Indian citizen, and also right to establish and maintain institutions and management of religious affairs, that including the property rights. But all provisions and the rights given under Article 26 is subject to the law made by the Parliament or subject to the limitation. That is also no fundamental right is supreme. Now here the question is whether the Waqf Amendment Act, which has been given effect, is unconstitutional, citing that it is encroaching upon the rights of a particular community, and two, whether the work by user, means the properties which are being long used, can also be denotified and cease to be the work property. That is the second. Admitted position, Megha, here and is that if you remember in our last discussion, we had said that in section 40 of the Act, there was a unique provision in earlier, before amendment, that has been made authorizing the work boards to make an inquiry in respect of any land. What was any land? To find out as to whether the property is work property or not. And that too, the courts were not given right. We have three types of court in our country, as we say, that the district court, high court, or supreme court, none of the courts were given right to have the judicial review of any order passed by the tribunal, and tribunal's order was final and binding. But the Supreme Court has to see tomorrow whether the amendment is arbitrary, contrary to the provisions of the Indian Constitution, and also whether the collector has a right to look into it. As the Supreme Court has also said that the violence, because the Supreme Court has very candidly said that the violence should not be there, and if there is a violence, what do you want to show? Supreme Court was very much concerned about this. And Supreme Court said that the religious endowment of Hindus is concerned, no one else from other communities part of it. That was also one of the arguments.
Right.
What would happen tomorrow? But one thing is, law passed by the Parliament, Megha, whether can be stayed by the court. And if it is so, then it will be having a big, far-reaching impact, because normally Supreme Court has never interfered. If you remember in Ashwini Upadhyay's matter, which came up before Justice Chandrachud, then we have said that the Waqf Act, which was given, which is in existence, that is contrary to the provisions of the Constitution, because a particular community is there and the reason to believe is there, and no court can look into the review. No court can do it. The Honorable Justice Chandrachud has said that you go to the High Court and the matter is pending in the High Court.
Okay. Okay. All right. Feroz Bakht Ahmed, let's hear it from you. Do you think political parties are trying to gain mileage out of this sensitive situation by polarizing the issue, whether we take a look at the protests in West Bengal or by the statements that are made by various political leaders, or the uprising that is also being witnessed in Manipur today?
Am I audible to you, Meghna?
Yes, I can hear you.
Listen to me. I had all my worthy panelists and my friends. Basically, the way these, you have rightly mentioned, the way these political parties and the so-called secular leaders, caring and sharing for Muslim community, the way they are crying and cribbing, this is totally unconstitutional. Number one, a bill which has been passed in both the houses of parliament, a bill that has actually been subjected to both the parties in favor or against for 38 long hours and meetings. There is no, I fail to comprehend what kind of country is India. Has this thing happened in Saudi Arabia, in China, in even like Malaysia or Australia? All these people who actually are rising against the bill, whatever bill it is, they would have been imprisoned. But in India, there's a lot of liberty. And, having said that, let me also add this thing, that these people, these political parties and the so-called OSCs and, some Khans, maybe many other opposition leaders, the so-called opposition leaders, they are trying to incite and instigate Muslim public, especially the boys. What will happen? Either from AIMPLB, All India Muslim Personal Law Board, or from Madani's side, they will remain behind. And if this crowd becomes
Okay, we'll try to come back to Firoz Bakht Ahmed, then, but Sujata, again coming to you.
Yes.
The same question: are political parties trying to take undue mileage out of this situation?
What a shameful statement to make by comparing India to Saudi Arabia. We are a democracy and we have every right to challenge anything that we feel is unconstitutional in the Honorable Supreme Court, and that is what is being done. And the words used about the opposition and what they are saying today being unconstitutional should be taken back by the panelist here. Now, what the court has also said is, considering what Mr. Dubey said, I will give you the flip side of it also. The court has also said that the legislature cannot declare a judgment or order or decree as void. So when you're talking about what the Honorable Supreme Court can do, you must also remember that if there is a judgment, you cannot go and pass a legislature and say that that is unconstitutional, that is void, that is not correct. So that is one thing. The court has specifically mentioned one very important thing, and that is that if you are considering people bring out documents about properties which are very old properties, which are Waqf properties, it will be almost impossible to get those documents now, because if these properties are Waqf properties from the 1940s, then how do you prove that? That was one very important point brought up in the Honorable Supreme Court. And one very important thing to remember here is that when we talk about the Waqf properties, definitely there is a court. It is being challenged. The amendment bill is being challenged in the courts, and that is how in any civilized society things should happen. And all those people who are inciting people, definitely I condemn them, because this is Gandhi's country. This is not Godse's country. And the bullying that is happening, and if you remember what Mr. Amit Shah had said, after 288 versus 232 in the Lok Sabha and 128 versus 95 in the Rajya Sabha, with a very, very good discussion and debate in both the houses of parliament, this bill might have been passed, but you cannot bully the country. When you are passing a law, and people are getting incited by vested interests.
How has the government bullied the country? Talking about how there was a JPC that was formed. The bill has been deliberated and discussed at length for the last 6 months and more, talking about how there have been a number of suggestions and recommendations and consultations that have taken place in the last 6 months, and after which the bill has been tabled. But but that's not my question. My question is about, then how do we tackle the situation of rampant corruption and bigotry that we face within the Waqf Trust, where there have been properties of the underprivileged, the poor class that have been usurped, where there have been opportunities that have been taken away from the women and the underprivileged? What about the very idea on the basis of which Waqf was created was for the privileged class in the Muslim community in Islam to then give away their properties, give away their land for the social good? Do you think the social good in the Muslim community has been proportional to the properties that have been under the control of Waqf today, which are worth lakhs of crores of rupees?
Megha, there are many cases in every community. Why are there laws in the country? Because whenever there is misuse, you have to ensure that the ones who are committing these offences are booked and action is taken against them. So bullying one particular community and targeting them and saying that they are the only ones who are misusing the Waqf. I'll give you similar examples. There was a law which was brought in Uttarakhand in 2019 and taken back, retracted in 2021. You know why? Because it related to the Devasthanam board. And the reason why that happened was the Panda Purohits were up against the government. So if there, and the government was saying that we are trying to remove the blatant misuse of the laws of the board which exists, the Kedarnath Mandir Samiti. So it happens everywhere, but there are laws to counter them.
Okay, so Mukesh Tyagi, what do you have to say to that? What do you have to say to that? Why single out one community in the country is what Sujata Paul says?
Absolutely not singling out. Number one, there are a number of even temple properties and trusts are managed by the government. Whether it's a Vaishno Devi, Tirupati, I can give you a number of examples. So Devastanam could be on a different footing. But here, they don't want even a whispering intervention into their affairs. I mean, if the Mutawwil is the final authority and tribunal is the final adjudicating authority, look at the statistics of all the judgments which have been given by Waqf Board. Most of them are only in favor of the legitimate user of the properties by the Waqf Board and Waqf Council in the states. So, I mean, so where is the justice here? Now, if you want to widen up the justice, district collector is revenue authority also. They have to go through the revenue record. Now, if the order is final and then to investigation is done by their own appointed person, so obviously there is a conflict of justice. So you should welcome on the contrary. Number two, I mean, they could not give me answer what kind of charitable activities there is such a third largest real estate holder in this country did for the society at large. Nothing. They have done,
you've made your...
They have misused. They have not answered. Sorry.
You haven't answered about the Devasthana Board Act being taken back. Why was it taken back?
I'm not.
Why?
I'm.
No, don't
Listen, Sujata. I did not interfere.
Listen,
I did not interfere. Please allow me to speak.
You completed your statement.
You completed
your statement. I'm asking you. Give me an answer to that.
No, you are delaying the.
You know,
you are delaying the debate.
I will give you many examples.
Sujata,
many examples. People have donated properties.
Let Mukesh Tyagi complete his point. Sujata, I gave you the platform. Yes, Mukesh, do you have a new point to make over here? Mukesh, do you have a new point to make over here, barring what you have already said?
Please.
Okay, I'm going to give the last word to Firoz Bakt Ahmed. He is back on the telecast. I hope we have proper audio connection right now. Firoz Bakt Ahmed, again the situation. How do we tackle this? Is the Muslim community being singled out by the Amendment Act? And if not, do you think it is right for non-Muslims and government officials to preside over the trust?
See, basically, Megha, all these amendments have been there for Muslim community for the last 100 years. The poor Muslims, the poor widows, the mosques, the madrasas, the graveyards, the orphanages, all these places, they were not given their due. And rightly, one question has been asked by Mukesh. All these years, what has Waqf Board given to Muslims? Have they given some schools? Have they given some dispensaries, hospitals to them, playgrounds, stadiums to them? Nothing has been done. And it all happened because during the Raj of Congress, the Congress made some very corrupt people as chairmen, as members, their lawyers, even their, peons and clerks. They also gauged these important lands. It all happened because these people, they deputed some near and dear ones of theirs in the Waqf Board, and Waqf Board did not do the duty which it was supposed to do. Now, finally, give me 10 more seconds. What they should do is they should form a widow committee, a political affairs committee, education committee. They should form a graveyard.
What is happening in the Supreme Court, Mr. Buck? What are you talking? Let's talk about what is happening in the Honorable Supreme Court. Don't give me suggestions. The bill has been passed. It's a law which is being challenged in the Honorable Supreme Court. Don't give your suggestion. Don't give your suggestion.
Okay, that's an opinion. Sujata, that's an opinion that has been, that's an opinion that Firoz Bakt Ahmed at this point of time has put out.
सुजाता जी सुनिए
सुनिए एक क्वेश्चन सुनिए नहीं मैं बात आपसे पूछ रही हूँ आपने कहा कि वहाँ पे
आपसे
गरीबों के लिए
सवाल
कुछ
पूछ
नहीं किया.
रहा
You
हूँ.
tell me one
मैं-
thing, 80 crore
मैं-
people who are getting free ration today, or do they belong to the Muslim community? अरे वो
अरे क्या
हमारे
बात
हिंदू
कर रही है?
कम्युनिटी के भी हैं.
अरे
ठीक है ना?
भैया,
उनके लिए तो कर
आप
ले
ये-
सरकार.
Okay, all right.
आपके
This
लिए
has
आगे
again
कर
become a
ले.
Congress
हमारे
BJP
लोगों को नौकरियां देते हैं, महंगाई
fight,
कम
which
करते
I
हैं.
had
उसके बाद
hoped
आप
would
किसी
not happen.
को
Okay, all right. I'm out of time.
Ma'am,
I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast. We'll keep, of course, a close eye on the proceedings that take place in the Supreme Court tomorrow as well. 2 p.m. is when the Supreme Court has decided to hold those proceedings, and what comes of it, we'll keep you updated. On that note, I slip into a short break. Thanks for watching NewsX.